great experts that don't necessarily have the confidence to engage with potential clients, natural clients, on a business level. The technical specialism is very, very strong, but the business acumen and the business confidence is not so strong.
My role is to share the lessons of my 30 plus years of experience of running businesses, developing teams, leading turnarounds and assessing businesses for acquisition.
Collectively, across the whole of my career, I've been involved with over 150 different operating organisations and environments. In my experience, a lot of the sales training that's provided is quite complicated, hard to implement, often doesn't get implemented, and is very focused on specific parts of a sales process. So it's based on qualifications, or it's based on the steps in identification of a deal through to the closing of a deal. But in reality, the essence of a strong consulting relationship, professional services relationship, is a peer-to-peer business relationship, regardless of what it is that we provide. Even if we ourselves are a very boutique and niche and very specialist technical enterprise, we're almost always engaging on a business level. And the more capable we are at building long-term relationships, but also understanding organizations from their perspective, from a commercial perspective, understanding organizations perhaps with which we've previously been unfamiliar in terms of the early stages of finding new business for us. I think business acumen and people acumen are really important, and I think the elements of business acumen that are important to have your arms around is to focus on, first of all, having almost a mini MBA, an overview of the business ecosystem in which all of us work. Even if we're working in a not-for-profit, whether it's for-profit or not-for-profit, organisations have customers or beneficiaries, they're providing a service, they have investors or donors, and business disciplines apply. Money always matters. There's always a focus on some kind of returns or deliverables. There's always a focus on risk management. There's always a focus on information provision and information flow. So I think it's really important to have a clear understanding of the business ecosystem in which every organisation operates. It's also important to have enough of an understanding of financial statements, financial terms. We don't need to be an accountant, but to understand enough that we feel confident in engaging in discussing where financial terms are being used. We feel confident, we understand what the financial terms relate to, and we're not in any way feeling daunted by the terminology. I take you through a finance for non-financial managers in 15-20 minutes, and I also include the specific dynamics of the financials in a consulting business, because I think that's quite important.
You can find the programme by clicking the link in the description or the comments.
It's also helpful to have a clear understanding and a clear picture how organisations are typically organised, how they're typically funded, and also to be able to quickly get to grips with what it is that organisations do from a business perspective, from an operational perspective. And I think there's 7 flavours of activity that every value proposition that an organisation is engaged in, these activities typically underpin them. So one organisation typically will be engaged in perhaps 2 or 3 of the 7 activities that I think are prevalent throughout businesses. And if we understand the 7 activities, each of the 7 are quite distinct. The dynamics, the preoccupations, the systems, the typical business metrics, the working capital metrics. So the things that concern us in each of these different flavours of business tend to be different. So if you understand these activity models, it can help us quickly get to grips with organisations that we've previously been unfamiliar, and it can help us think about the type of points that we need to discuss with individuals. It can help us think about how our proposition, how our solution fits within the overall picture. In essence, it helps us build credibility and trust, and it gives us confidence. Opportunities come to us through relationships, the possibility we can add some value, something needs to be done, or there's an opportunity to take an organisation from A to B. And thirdly, we've got to have the capability. So we have to put all 3 together. That's a major focus of the programme, is relationship building. It's how to identify possibility in organisations, and what do we need to do ourselves to put ourselves in a great position to contribute. And the other piece is people acumen. In the end, I think there's 4 flavours of people acumen that are really important, and communication's one, relationship building's another one. Having a leadership methodology that we can draw from is helpful. If you think about us in a consulting role, often we're managing constantly changing teams. We have to find ways to almost create a mini project culture for the duration of the project. So I have some ideas that I can share in that regard as well. I think the other piece is selling acumen, and there's a very straightforward model that we can think about in terms of the journey that we typically take relationships on. There's a sequence of steps that we can run through to quickly get to grips with organisations with which we're seeking to engage.
So holistically, that's what this programme is all about.